Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com, and today we're going to talk about what you need to get started in macro photography. And really, you only need three things. But before we talk about that, if you could just take a moment and please subscribe to my videos. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you click like on the videos, and if you commented on the videos. I'd really appreciate that. Okay, what do you need? I mentioned you need three things. Now, the first thing you need is a way to focus closer to get the macro shot. Now, that you could do three different things here. You could either buy a macro lens, which is kind of expensive. You get some macro filters, which is really cheap. Or you could get some extension tubes, which kind of is in the middle. And let's talk about each. First of all, the macro filters are just simple filters that screw on the front of your existing lens. And they usually come in sets of 4. And some will be, they come +2, +4, +10, and you could stack them as I mentioned and get really close to the subject you're trying to take the photograph of. The disadvantage of these, there is some distortion, particularly around the edges. So you normally keep your subject right in the middle and you'll be okay. The advantage of these is they're really cheap. Usually you get a set of 4 for around 20 bucks. And they do a decent job. I took this photograph here with a macro filter and it came out, pretty nice. Very low distortion. It's a decent shot. Now, the other thing I mentioned, you could get extension tubes. Extension tubes push the lens further away from the sensor, allowing you to focus closer. They usually come in sets of 3, and you could stack these also, so you could get in really close and zoom way into something. They usually are, there's 2 different subversions of these. The ones pictured are a little more expensive. You could see the contacts on the inside of the extension tube and on the outside. That allows the electrical contact of your camera to reach your lens. So you could autofocus and you could the aperture will work. These, I've seen these run for 300 bucks, 200 bucks. You get what you pay for. Some of the cheaper ones will be really cheap plastic. The better ones will be built better, obviously. The other version won't have those contacts. They'll be really cheap. All they do is they push your lens away. They're hollow and there's no glass in them. They just push your lens away. And they do a good job. This photograph here are these intertwined forks I took with an extension tube. And it did a good job. There's a good detail and they work well. Now, the other thing you could do is you could get a macro lens. This gets a little more expensive, of course, but this will give you the best quality. There's no doubt. I took like this photograph of this flower with the macro lens, and I'm able to control the depth of field with the lens, and I could do a lot more creativity with the lens. So you might want to consider a macro lens if you have the dollars to burn on that. Okay, so that's the first thing you need. You need a way to focus closer. So you get either a filter, or extension tube, or a lens. The other thing you need a tripod. And not just any tripod. If you could get a tripod like this that you could maneuver an angle to get real low, that way if you're taking a picture of a little flower on the in the middle of the lawn, you'd be able to get it lower. Or however, you can manipulate this tripod to get the shot you need. They cost a little more, but it's worth it. You could get the camera right where you need it to be. Alternatively, if you don't have the money to spend on a tripod, you could just somehow hand hold it, your camera. You could do that. Usually, though, when you're focusing on a macro subject, you have very little depth of field, so it's hard to hold the camera. You could maybe set it on a stack of books if you're doing some tabletop photography, or you could set your camera on a rock or something and use the timer function of the camera to take the shot. So there's always ways around the tripod, but if possible, get a tripod, and when you get the tripod, try to get one that you could manipulate into shape like this, so you could really get the camera where you need it to be. Okay, so we talked about two things. The way to get closer by getting the macro filters extension tubes to the macro lens, or then the second thing is to get the tripod, and finally you need a light source. Not always. You could use existing light often, but usually you need something to light it. Now, if you're doing tabletop photography, just get a gooseneck lamp. I've used it. You could get a gooseneck lamp in some department stores for less than $30. And as a matter of fact, I think I bought mine for less than 20. So get a gooseneck lamp. Your auto white balance in your camera will handle it. The white balance. If not, you could set the white balance. Just follow the owner's manual of your camera how to do it. Or you could take care of white balance in post using a program like Lightroom. This photo of these strawberries I lit with a gooseneck lamp, and it came out fine. The more expensive way is you could get a ring flash, and this particular one is a pretty good one, and it runs over $300. It comes with adapter rings, so you attach it to the front of your lens, and your lens shoots through that hole in the middle, and it will give even light across the subject. This one too, you could turn off half of it, so you could have some side lighting effects. Ring flashes are pretty good. I lit and took this shot of this butterfly with a ring flash, and you could see it came out pretty good. You don't have the money for that. You could use your on-camera flash. It works fine. The only caveat is that if you're too close, the lens will get in the way of the flash, and it won't light the subject. Or if you're too close, the flash just shoots over the top and it won't light your subject at all. So if you're further away from the subject, I would say at least 18 inches, then the on-camera flash will work well. And I took this photograph of this butterfly. I just popped up the on-camera flash and took this, and as you could see, it lit it perfectly. Very, nice light. So you could use your on-camera flash, get some shots with that, and then maybe someday get the ring flash. And that's it. Those three things were all you need. Extension tube or a macro lens or macro filters, a tripod or a way to steady your camera, and some way to light it. You get a gooseneck lamp really cheap, use your on-camera flash, won't cost you anything, or buy a ring flash, which costs you, if you get a decent one, over $300. Guys, if you could visit my website, if you're interested in photography, every day I put how-to articles and videos up there on photography. Just drop by and see what you like. Drop me an email if you need any help with your photography. I'd be glad to help. And also, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you could just subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Like the videos and comment on the videos. That'd be really cool. That's it. I'll talk to you soon.